Hello everybody and welcome back to Cities Skylines, where my voice is still not back to normal, and hopefully it will get there eventually, but it is not this day. So I have to apologize for that. Hopefully things will not be too bad, but we'll see. So we're proceeding forward here. We've got a lot of space out over this way that we can expand our low-density residential out to. For the time being, I don't think we strictly speaking need to do that. So we're just going to tick forward for right now, keeping an eye on some traffic issues, and broadly hoping that we get a chance to work on our riverfront here. That would be absolutely great. So really what I'd like to do here is I'd like to start smoothing out some of this area. Using the slope terrain tool, not that big of a brush, maybe somewhere around here, we can grab about that height there and just see what this ends up doing. I don't like what's going on here. The water is immediately moving up and onto the road. And I think that's just because our height here is lower than I thought it was. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this section of road, just like that. And we're going to grab the height from about here. And I'm just going to level that out throughout here. Like that. Okay. Next, I want to grab this section of road. And that should end up terminating about here. Then this section of road should come in over this way. Okay, so that puts this at a higher level. We can definitely tell it's at a higher level, so that should be a more safe location for that. Cool. We'll see what the water ends up doing here. I see it's attempting to flow uphill. Hopefully it doesn't actually succeed in that. But what we need to do right now, I think, is just grab our slope terrain tool and just do something kind of like this. Whoa, that did not do what I thought it would do. Okay, that's more like it. So we're just trying to smooth this area out here, and hopefully this won't get too bad. So I'm just going to do a small section out over here for now. And we'll see how this settles in. I don't like the actual height that this grabbed, though, so maybe about here would be better. I want it to be down here in terms of height. But it keeps doing this number, where this final height is significantly different from what I'm asking it to be, I think. And we can see that the water is deciding to flood straight up into here. It's doing a lot of running uphill at this moment. So we might not be able to actually pull this off. Yeah, I'm definitely not loving what we've got going on here. So for the time being, I think all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the level terrain tool at this height. And we're just going to do something like that. And then something like this, and we'll just have a hard cut off here. Okay, so something more along the lines of this. And the water will eventually settle. We'll see where it decides to go. Right now, it's just sitting on this section of road here, and there's a little bit that pooled up down here as well. We may need to get rid of the housing that is currently here, and also get rid of these sections of street, which I think is worthwhile doing anyway. We get rid of that, and we get rid of that, like that. Okay, now we can rebuild this out this way so that we don't have that big dip right here. And then we can build this guy up over here about like that. There we go. That'll do. So I want to get this area rezoned here, although we don't want this zoned. Nope. Don't zone that. There we go. Okay. So we're going to end up with something kind of like this. Unfortunately, I suspect we're still going to have flooding issues with this kind of a barrier. And we can see that this section of road is going to need to get rebuilt as well, which isn't surprising. So I'm just going to take that out of there, and then I'm going to rebuild this directly in here. And then that doesn't like this corner. Gotcha. Can we delete this? That would be great. Apparently not. I guess we have to delete that road. Very strange, but whatever. We'll just connect this guy down over here. And then we'll connect this guy back up somewhere around... It goes about here. Okay. Now, do we still have the water on Emerson Street here? We do. This water may or may not clear out. For now, I don't think it's a significant issue, but we'll keep an eye on that. Now then, as we go through this, we're going to have to be kind of careful about the overall water level, right? So for now, I'm just going to grab this level terrain tool, and we're just going to give ourselves a little bit of space out over here. But we don't want to have, ideally, these giant walls, right? That would be ideal, to not have the giant walls. Ooh, hang on a moment. So we have a significant water level differential here. This height is apparently not high enough once we get to this point. So I'm going to grab this height, and we're just going to slap this guy in here for now. Ooh, that's ugly. Okay, well, let's get rid of some of that. Cool. And we might have to do this significantly piecemeal and just wait for the water to settle out, because we've got situations like this, right? Ooh, and we can see it's happening over here too. So, yeah, I think overall, it's way safer to just leave this like this until such a time as they implement tools to be able to deal with that water. I think that we just have to say we need these walls.
The commercial district is booming.
For the moment, anyway. So there's a fair amount of water that did end up coming in here. I expect that this water is going to, as before, flow down this direction and exit. So in theory, this water shouldn't be a big deal. It should go away. The main question is, how long will it take to settle? For now, I guess that's reasonably fine. I think that, honestly, given the lack of tools to deal with water that has incursions here, given those lack of tools, I think that we have to just leave our giant flood walls for the moment. It's sad. I don't like that. I think that that's something that should absolutely be changed. And how would I go about changing it? Honestly, just having a pumping station would do the trick. So specifically, that is that we can have water tankers that come in and pump water that is inappropriately located, like in City Skylines 1. That would do the trick entirely. As it is, this water may or may not go away. We'll keep an eye on it. But for now, let's move on for a little bit here. I'm not too concerned about that level of water, but without tools to properly remove water, I don't think that that's going to really be a viable thing at this time. So we do have a problem on this intersection here. And specifically, the problem, I think, was how slowly that one motorcycle was going. This all comes down to pathfinding in these roundabouts, which is, in my opinion, a little bit not great. And ultimately, I wish we had better lane control in them as well. If we could make this interior lane here only be, like, you can only travel from here and then to the outer lane, and the outer lane was the only one that could go into these lanes, I think it'd be significantly better. We do see the traffic moving quite a bit better now, though. So the question is this going to clean up on its own, or do we need to embiggen this roundabout? And I think that the answer is it's going to clean up on its own. So I think that there's very little that we need to actually end up doing here. We just have situations like this, right? Where this guy is just parked here in the roundabout for some reason. That's what causes these situations, is when people just end up parking in the roundabout. It's definitely not ideal. That's for sure. In this case, it was probably this road maintenance vehicle doing its job. But it's definitely non-ideal. We do have some left turn issues here that we can work on, although I don't believe that this is causing any of these issues. We can absolutely remove the left turn here and here, which would be good. We can also remove the left turn over this way. So no left turn here. There we go. And do we have any issues down here? Yes, we do. We can remove those as well. And I suppose we could remove this one too. Like I said, I'm not going to go through and remove this from all of these, but there shouldn't be any left turns there. We'll remove them where they cause issues. But here, I believe that the issue is just poor pathfinding. Like this guy. What you doing, bud? He wants to go around, and so he was waiting for people to cross his lane of traffic. That's definitely not how roundabouts are intended to work. Once you are in the roundabout, you have right-of-way. So that's the core issue there. I think that we may want to consider upgrading this roundabout, though. Not because I think it should be necessary. I don't think that it should be necessary, but I think that it would actually help at this point. So I'm going to do exactly that. Okay. So let's get that upgraded with 3 lanes inside of the roundabout, just to brute force some extra throughput through here. And that will help matters, at least somewhat. Until we run into issues like this. They'll get it sorted eventually. But what this ends up meaning is when we have issues like this, we don't have as much loss of throughput because we have an extra lane. So that will allow traffic to move through here significantly faster when we have pathfinding issues. That's the reason why this works. And it shouldn't work, but it's just a brute force solution, right? That's all it is. Just pure brute force. And if we really wanted to go ham on that, we could. We could make some really insane roundabouts, but I don't think it's necessary. Eventually, we'll see this city car actually move, or it'll despawn. One or the other. It's trying to go up into this lane, I guess. Yeah. Okay. The pathfinding here is definitely not ideal. There's no doubt about that. But I do believe that this will eventually smooth out once some of this traffic makes its way out of here. We saw the traffic was moving pretty good until we ran into some pathfinding issues over this way. And then we've got guys like this. I don't know what he's trying to do, moving into this other lane. Okay. But broadly, as long as the pathfinding issues aren't too bad, we should be moving through here at a reasonable rate. So I think that's okay. There is a lot of traffic coming this direction, and we can see that there's some issues in this intersection as well. So what we may want to think about doing is upgrading this to be a 6-lane road as well. So we upgrade this roundabout here, and then we can upgrade this entire portion through here to increase the traffic through this particular thoroughfare. And that will mean less lane changing as well. It's a lower overall speed, so I prefer not to do this where possible, because our speed limit on these roads is significantly lower. It's 50, and we can see on these highways, the speed limit is double that at 100. So I would prefer not to have these upgrades happening, but when they need to happen, they do need to happen. Why are you just parking here, bud? You can go. You did not need to change lane from here to here in order to get onto Brook Street. That was an unnecessary waste of everyone's time. Perfect. So yeah, this is pretty much just a throughput issue overall. Or not throughput, this is a pathfinding issue overall. But we are just going to increase the throughput there to deal with it. That does not solve the underlying problem. I want to be clear about that. That does not solve the problem. Whoa! Okay. Hi, Tornado. This is the first time we've actually had a disaster. I didn't realize this tornado was happening. Interesting. Did it do damage out over here? Well, something happened out over here. Not enough water, not enough electricity. Actually, that makes sense. Just gonna get rid of that for now. Okay, so the tornado is gone. The tornado appears to have largely missed us. I don't think it actually did any damage. I think it just kind of ran around in the water out over here. So that's reasonably good. This building collapsed due to lack of maintenance. We can get rid of it. That's fine for now. And then we do have a bunch of abandoned structures up over here. So what are they upset about? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, none of these are actually angry. Okay, so we're just going to get rid of these. And we'll rebuild them, and hopefully they'll be fine. Everybody moved out for no reason at all, according to the readout anyway. Cool. There's a few more up this way, and we should probably check in up over here again. That's unreliable healthcare coverage, which is fair enough. We don't have a lot of healthcare out over this way. We could certainly consider putting a medical clinic in over here somewhere. Like there. Cool. So that should help with the healthcare coverage. Walking distance to elementary school. Yeah, I mean, where is our nearest elementary school? That is quite a ways. So arguably, we could remove, say, this street here and put in an elementary school up over here. And we'll do that. That is fair enough, and we'll get rid of all of this. Cool. We should have a fire truck on the way over here. What is going on in the street here? There's just moose walking around. Okay. Excellent. Let's check in on what's going on up over here. Looks like this is all cleared up. That's fantastic. Any other problems going on here? Well, we do have some abandoned structures out over here. What are they upset about? Nothing at all? Nothing? No issues? It's just abandoned. Okay. Cool. So we'll get rid of these. There we go. No problem. We have not really needed to... Interesting. I didn't know that you could toggle the UI with one press of tilde. That's good to know. We've not gotten a whole lot of extra demand here. That's probably because we've had these abandoned structures, right? We do see waiting for an ambulance up over here. There's some high rent down over this way. None of that is super shocking. And at this point, I do want to do some additional low-density housing out over here. So we'll just get all of that zoned up. And for the moment, that looks reasonably fine. So we'll just continue to tick forward here on full speed. And we'll keep an eye on this demand. Is this really full speed? This doesn't really feel like full speed. Okay. I guess this is full speed. So do we have any other traffic issues? If we do, they're probably going to end up... Oh, hello. This has been upgraded here. So we should really probably consider upgrading this. It's going to be awkward positioning, looks like. But I guess that's reasonably fine. So all of that ends up getting upgraded like so. Cool. So we're adding in an additional lane of traffic there, but we do compensate for it by slowing down. Can we adjust the speed limit? I don't think we can. At least not in the base game here. Let's see here. No, I don't see any way to adjust that speed limit. It's just based on the size of the road. So it's unfortunate that this is lower, but then once they come out over here, which we should probably get rid of these left turns. No left turns allowed. Once they come up over here, they're going to apparently have a stoplight. We don't want a stoplight here either. We want to say no stoplight. There we go. And then they'll accelerate on up. And that should, in theory, be absolutely fine.
Exercise caution if you must drive, and try to stay
Okay,
off the streets.
we've got some additional abandonment happening up over here.
Public service announcement.
Pending updates to our power
Nothing
grid,
bad
the city will be
in
experiencing
their
local
opinions. They're just
blackouts.
unhappy.
We urge the public to remain calm.
It might just be
during
due
these
to
breaks
the
in
noise
service and
pollution.
to follow the
That is a
guidelines on the
possibility.
city's
One thing
website
we
on
might
how
want to
and
consider
who
doing
is
is
temporarily
putting in
This has
sound
been a
barriers
local public service announcement.
in these highways. I don't know if we can put them in elevated highways, though.
Tune in tomorrow for a second chance to
We can
hear
put
the
in
news.
sound barriers in the unelevated highways.
We've recently been having what some are calling the
So we can put in sound barriers like
That's
here.
right. Today we are talking about the increased likelihood that you'll die.
Okay, yeah, that's very strange. We can definitely do that.
Either way, if everybody is dying, that
But I
means
don't
you
know
get
that it's
free.
actually
That's a
going to be
wild
helpful.
overstatement.
Like,
Are you
realistically
trying to
speaking.
make people panic?
Did you say panic? She
So,
said
I mean,
panic.
we can
The
we can
death rate is
definitely do this.
skyrocketing. We've got to get out of
Is it
here.
actually
You
going to
go,
help, though?
I'll stay,
The
clean
noise
up the mess.
probably comes from the
You'll
actual
be
highway
back.
itself, not the on-off ramps. I don't know that that's
live,
actually
and
true,
we're
though.
getting reports about a traffic accident somewhere in the city.
Road maintenance services have
So we
always
see
been
that there's
stopped and traffic
noise
flow should
pollution
return to
here.
normal.
We
But if
don't
you're
see
planning
noise
a quick
pollution
trip out,
here.
You might want to wait a little
That's
while until
intriguing.
everything clears out.
I'm not sure entirely what's going on with that. We'll have to do some experimentation and try to figure that one out. For the time being, I want to check in on the status of our fire truck here. Actually, they're sending a helicopter. They're sending a helicopter. Okay. We might want to consider having some fire stations down on this side. That might not be a bad idea. So we could put in a firehouse around here. We should probably consider putting one somewhere over here. And then maybe one like up here somewhere. About every other meta block up this way. That might be too much. I'm not sure. But something along the lines of that. Okay, we'll see how that ends up going for now. Keeping an eye on our demand is holding relatively steady at this point. I'm going to zone 2 additional meta blocks here. There we go. We'll see how that ends up going. Okay, so what is the complaint here? There's some noise pollution. That is quite far away from our highways. So what is causing that noise pollution? That's very odd. The way that this is laid out inside of the actual meta block, why do these areas have noise pollution and their neighbors do not? That's a question that I have here. The noise pollution is the reason why these are getting abandoned. To be clear. That's definitely why it's happening. The question is, why is the noise pollution getting applied in the way it is? Maybe they just have very loud children. In which case, I feel like that's not our problem. Who knows? Noise pollution is definitely a thing, particularly around those roundabouts. So that's certainly noted, but there tends to also be an empty space around the roundabouts. You can see that the elementary schools are producing some noise, as is the police station, the firehouse. The radio masts, interestingly. I mean, I live very close to a radio mast, and you definitely don't get a lot of noise out of them. Well, at least not audible noise. I mean, there's like radio signals, but you can't hear that. There's our university up over here, that's all fair enough. But my question is, where do we get things like this noise pollution? What's the source of that? I don't know. Construction? Feels kind of strange. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with those. For now, I think our best bet is to just bulldoze them, and when they get them rebuilt, maybe they'll be better? But they probably won't, in all honesty. So if we look down over here, this is the same thing. They're very happy, other than this noise pollution. But the noise pollution is being applied in a very spotty manner. That is strange to me. I would not expect noise pollution to be jumping over houses like this. That's very unintuitive behavior. So, obviously, what I would expect to see is that there would be noise pollution from this highway, which there is, and I would expect that to be worst next to the highway, and better the further away from the highway you get. I would not expect it to look like this. Just scattered around. That is very strange. No doubt about that. For now, we're just going to get rid of all of these, and they'll get rebuilt, and maybe that'll fix it. I don't know if that's true or not, but maybe it'll fix it. But probably it won't. That might be one of those things that needs to get fixed as well, with some sort of a patch. That noise pollution system. It doesn't appear to be perfect. No doubt about that. At any rate, it is time to put a cut in here. I do see that there's a traffic jam up over here. Ah. Yes. There should be no left-hand turn here, no left-hand turn here. That will clean up a lot of this, actually. No left-hand turn here or here. There we go. No left turn here. And then down over this direction, there should be no left. It's kind of hard to see. There should be no left turn in any of these. Okay. So that will make this go a lot better. There is an accident over here, and that's, I think, what's caused this overall. But just getting those left turns sorted will make a world of difference in this area. So I think we've got that fixed. And it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we'll keep developing this area, as well as investigating some of the issues that we have in our current city. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.